Are expensive controllers really better controllers and the controllers of choice to buy? With controllers coming in at $100, $150, $200, some coming close to even $300 after modding and all things that come with a controller. Is it really worth it? What's going on, guys? It's Chukavelli. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if it's of any service to you and you really appreciate it, remember to like and subscribe. It really takes the channel to another level and I appreciate it. Now, as a man who has bought over 20 controllers on the channel just to review them and have really experienced all types of mechanisms and features that a controller can have, I can give you my personal answer, which is yes. It's kind of like the age-old saying, you get what you pay for. But with that being said, there is something called paying more than you need to. And so there are some controllers that are in the perfect sweet spot where the price and the quality are equal. Controllers like the Elite Series 2 is what me and my fellow controller enthusiasts would call overpriced. It's a controller that on paper should be very good, but comes with a number of problems. One, they're mainly charging you for its wireless capabilities. You think that they're charging you extra because of the paddles and the buttons and all these different things, but actually no, it's just the fact that it's wireless. And so they bump up the price almost $100 more than its wired counterparts that do just as good a job, sometimes even better. And then couple that with the fact that they're poorly made. There's no studies on this, but about 60 to 70% of people who buy an Elite Series 2 controller have problems with it within the first 6 months without fail. And then you expect us to pay $200 for this thing? No. But don't get me wrong, when the controller is good, it's great. It has a lot of features, I ain't knocking it, but at that price point, with those issues, that is a problem. Whereas a controller like a Victrix Gambit, which is coming in at a clean $100, doing everything that it does with the back paddles, the trigger stops, the amazing sound system, the software, that's a good price. It's almost a steal. But why do people normally go and buy expensive controllers? Well, it's usually for more capabilities and more options. We're talking about back paddles, trigger locks, RGB, softwares, maybe even better audio. These are things that usually come with more expensive controllers, which is dope, but it's not always necessary, and sometimes poorly made, even gimmicky. But some of these controllers are definitely worth it, especially if you're a competitive gamer. But hell, even if you're a casual gamer, no one wants to lose in multiplayer, ain't that right? There are tons of games that don't require you to be a major league gamer for you to just want to perform better. Sports games, racing games, first-person shooters probably being the #1 culprit for why people even need more expensive controllers. If you don't have an expensive controller that would normally come with back paddles and some of these things, it usually requires you to employ the claw technique, which just basically means that you use more of your fingers across the controller. Now, it's possible, and many people do it, but there are some health risks to that. I've made a whole video on that, but just to summarize, it could damage your hands. Not everyone could do it. I've tried, I know I can't do it. So I don't necessarily recommend it to people because, listen, once you get carpal tunnel, you don't really get back from that. So that's why expensive controllers are usually pretty good. But not every modded controller is expensive. There are very good controllers like the PowerA Spectra Infinity that are incredible at its price point. Even the 8-bit Doe. These are controllers that come in at $30, $40. They're even less expensive than stock Xbox or PlayStation controllers. And they give you the ability to have more options and have more capabilities in your gameplay. And one might argue, well, are they going to be durable? Well, first off, expensive controllers don't tend to be durable either. But second, oftentimes buying these cheaper controllers multiple times throughout the year will save you more money than buying these expensive controllers once or twice a year. Think about it. If you bought 4 to even 6 Spectra Infinity controllers at $40 a pop, that would be anywhere between $160 and $240 spent on controllers throughout the year. Whereas if you bought one Scuff Instinct controller, you would be spending about $240, and it's not likely to last you throughout the year. So that's kind of the trade-off here. And that's assuming that your Spectra Infinities break. They may not, so why not just go with the one that's cheaper, and if you end up needing a new one, get that one. And if you're willing to compromise with wireless and just use a wired controller, I mean, buying a bunch of Spectra Infinities or maybe a couple Victrix Gambits throughout the year is just much more cost efficient than buying a Scuff Instinct when the Gambits and the Spectra Infinities do everything the Instinct is doing and sometimes even better. But now the question becomes, which expensive controllers are actually worth it? Well, on the Xbox side, you have a number of options. You have the eSwap S, you have the Victrix Gambit, you have the Spectra Infinity, and then you in fact, you could check out the tier list that I made just the other day where I really got into it on the live stream. Those are really the top 3 choices. There are a few other choices that maybe aren't that bad, and some good arguments can be made for it, like the eSwap X or even the Turtle Beach Recon and so on and so forth. So you can really get in depth with it. Make sure to check that video out because we really talked about it in the stream. But on the PlayStation side, well, every modded or customized controller is really expensive, you know. For the PlayStation side, you'd actually have to make your own. You'd have to buy like an extreme rate kit or things along that nature if you really plan on doing anything that involve customizing your PlayStation controller at a reasonable price. With Scuff and Hex Gaming and honestly just the PlayStation 5 being so rare, there's just not really many options out there. So if you're a PlayStation head like me, you're screwed. Okay, and then the next question becomes, let's say you can't afford to buy some of these more expensive controllers. Isn't there a way to mod them so that you can have the same level of performance? Yeah, there are even free ways to do that. That can give you some trigger stops, that could even, you know, improve your performance if you use a PC. I made a video about how you can make free trigger stops on any controller. Then you also have, if you're playing on PC, softwares that you can use to remap your controller or reduce the response time on a controller, allowing you to overclock it. There are definitely ways to boost your controller's abilities in order to get similar level gameplay that a person with a more expensive controller. And if you're a seriously DIY kind of guy, you can again always buy an extreme rate kit for anywhere between $15 and $50 that would give you the ability to mod your controller and actually make the exact same controller that these other companies are selling you for hundreds of more dollars. Just keep in mind though that you're going to need a little bit of patience and experience to really do these things correctly. But once you got it, technically, you can just keep making expensive controllers and save yourself thousands of dollars over the course of your gaming career. Hell, you could even sell them, make your money. Chukavelli respects it. But now a question becomes, if generally expensive controllers may not be worth it, which expensive controllers do I recommend? Well, definitely the Victrix Gambit at number 1. At number 2, we have the eSwap S. Both of these controllers for the Xbox are incredible controllers, and I will die repping this controller, the Power A Spectra Infinity. I really do rock with it. Even though it's not expensive, it's still just a recommendation, and I reviewed it here. And when it comes to PlayStation 5 Pro controllers, you know, I don't really have a recommendation. Unfortunately, that whole market is monopolized, and every PlayStation 5 Pro controller costs like $200 and up. So, I mean, if you have the money, go out and buy them. I have one. I have actually a couple. But as far as pro controllers that I can recommend to the average consumer, no, you know, I would actually say, you know, thug it out a little bit more longer with your regular PS5 controller and just play your PS5 games, or get an extreme rate kit and make one yourself. But that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. I really do appreciate it. Chukavelli was in, and now Chukavelli is out. Peace, y'all.